Welcome to part 3 of our Pennsylvania Ghost Town series. In this episode, we are going to explore 7 more forgotten towns in Pennsylvania that you probably don't know existed. So, make sure to watch till the end, because we have a surprise for you in between this video that you'll absolutely love. Now let's start our countdown without any further delay. Number 7. Loanne. Located along the Lehigh River in Carbon County, Loanne Landing was a small but important settlement in the early days of northeastern Pennsylvania. Established in 1808, it grew around the Lehigh and Susquehanna Turnpike, a vital toll road that connected the region. Travelers stopped here, resting at the Landing Tavern and preparing for the steep climb up Broad Mountain. The area was ideal for timbering and boat building, thanks to the Lehigh River providing easy access for transporting logs. While other towns boomed from coal mining, Loanne remained a quieter, rural settlement with small industries. As the years passed, the town began to shrink. Portions of Loanne Township were absorbed into surrounding areas like Jim Thorpe and Lehigh Township, and by 1875, the once thriving settlement had faded. Today, Loanne is a quiet, sparsely populated township with only a few stone ruins left to remind us of the past. Though not a full ghost town, Loanne Landing serves as a peaceful reminder of the area's industrial roots. Number 6. Scotia. Scotia was once a small town that thrived around the coal industry. Founded in the early 1900s, the town grew quickly as miners flocked to work in the coal mines. As the mines opened, families settled in, building homes, schools, and churches, creating a close-knit community tied to the rhythm of the coal industry. For decades, Scotia flourished. The town buzzed with activity, businesses opened, and the sounds of hard work echoed through the streets. But like many coal towns, Scotia's prosperity depended on the coal industry. As the coal reserves began to run out, the once booming town began to decline. By the mid-20th century, the mines closed and jobs disappeared. Families left in search of new opportunities, and by the 1960s, Scotia was a shadow of its former self. Today, Scotia is mostly forgotten. Nature has slowly reclaimed the land, with trees and vines overtaking decaying buildings. The town's once bustling streets are now quiet, and only the remnants of homes and businesses remain. Scotia stands as a silent reminder of the mining communities that once shaped Pennsylvania's landscape. Before proceeding to the next town, let us know if there's any other ghost town you'd like us to feature in the next video. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Number 5. Lain. It was once a thriving industrial town at the heart of the iron-producing region. Known for its ironworks, the town drew skilled workers eager for steady work. The ironworks shaped iron for everything from railroads to building materials, and the town flourished around the furnace, with homes, schools, and churches forming a self-sufficient community. For years, the sounds of the furnace echoed through the streets as the town's economy depended on the steady flow of iron. But as the late 1800s came, new materials and technologies reduced the demand for iron. The furnaces grew quiet, and the town's economy began to crumble. By the early 1900s, the ironworks shut down, and families left in search of new opportunities. Lain, once a bustling town, faded into history. Today, Lain is a ghost of its industrial past. The once bustling town has been reduced to crumbling stone walls and the quiet remnants of its former self. Nature has overtaken the buildings, and the town stands as a reminder of how quickly the industries rise and fall. Number 4. Petroleum Center. Petroleum Center was once the heart of the state's oil boom in the mid-1800s. When oil was first discovered, this small town quickly became a bustling hub of activity. Workers poured in, eager to strike it rich, and oil wells sprang up across the landscape. The town expanded rapidly, with families, businesses, and homes flourishing as the excitement of the oil rush filled the air. For a time, Petroleum Center was alive with the energy of the oil industry. People made fortunes, businesses thrived, and the future seemed bright. But like many boomtowns, the prosperity didn't last. As the oil reserves began to run low in the late 1800s, the once vibrant town began to wither. By the early 1900s, the oil wells had slowed and the businesses shut down. With jobs disappearing, families moved away, and Petroleum Center was abandoned by the turn of the century. Today, the town stands empty, a silent reminder of its fleeting success. Nature has overtaken the remains of the oil wells and buildings. The streets are quiet, and the rusted remnants of oil equipment are all that's left of the once bustling town. I hope you're enjoying this video so far, so make sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to watch our most popular playlists on Pennsylvania after this video. I bet you'll love these. Number 3. Rausch Gap. This town once thrived thanks to its iron furnace, which powered the town's economy in the mid-1800s. Situated in the heart of Pennsylvania's iron-producing region, workers came from near and far to help produce iron for railroads, factories, and infrastructure. For years, the furnace roared, fueling not just the town's economy, but also its sense of life, with families settling in, businesses opening, and streets alive with activity. However, like many industrial towns, Rausch Gap's fate was tied to the success of its furnace. As the demand for iron waned in the late 1800s, the furnace fell silent, and the town began to fade. With no jobs to sustain it, families left in search of new opportunities, and by the early 1900s, Rausch Gap was abandoned. Today, the iron furnace stands as a rusted relic, and the few remaining buildings are slowly being overtaken by nature. What was once a busy community is now a quiet, forgotten place. As you walk through Rausch Gap, it's easy to imagine the sounds of industry and the families who once lived here. Now just memories. Number 2. Cold Spring. Cold Spring played a key role in the region's industrial boom. Founded in the early 1800s, the town was home to an iron furnace that produced high-quality iron used for railroads, building materials, and even wartime weapons. The promise of steady work attracted families who built homes, schools, and churches, creating a tight-knit community. For decades, Cold Spring thrived, with the furnace at the heart of the town's economy. The hum of industry filled the air, and the town seemed destined to grow. But like many industrial towns, Cold Spring's fate was tied to its furnace. As new technologies and materials replaced iron, the furnace couldn't keep up. The economy faltered, and by the early 1900s, the town had become a ghost of its former self. Today, Cold Spring is a quiet, forgotten place, with nature slowly reclaiming the land. The furnace, once the lifeblood of the town, now stands in ruins, covered in ivy. What's left of the town, crumbling foundations and overgrown streets, serves as a reminder of how quickly industrial towns can fade. Number 1. Eckley Miners Village. Nestled in northeastern Pennsylvania, this is one of the few ghost towns that has been carefully preserved to tell the story of the region's coal mining past. Established in the mid-1800s, Eckley was a company town built to house the miners who worked in the nearby coal mines. The lives of the people in Eckley were entirely shaped by the coal industry, with small row houses lining the streets where families lived and worked side by side. The town had everything it needed: homes, schools, churches, and even a small store for neighbors to gather. At its peak, Eckley was alive with the rhythm of mining, as miners dug deep to fuel factories, trains, and homes across Pennsylvania. The town thrived as the coal industry boomed, and its residents took pride in their work, with the strength of their labor driving the town's economy. However, as the 20th century progressed, the coal industry began to slow. As new technologies and depleted coal reserves took their toll, the mines closed and families began leaving in search of new opportunities. By the 1950s, Eckley had lost its vibrancy, and by the 1960s, it had become a ghost town, its mining roots fading with the decline of the industry. Today, Eckley Miners Village stands as one of the best preserved coal mining towns in the U.S. Unlike many ghost towns, Eckley offers a unique glimpse into the past. The town is carefully maintained as a historical site, and visitors can walk through the narrow streets, past the row houses and churches, to experience life as it was in the days of the coal boom. The museum offers deeper insight into the lives of the miners and their families, preserving their stories for future generations.